Whatever you want to
Oh,
do, man.
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know we were live. I was just going to say, whatever you want to do is fine.
No problem. On this week's show, we're seeing if the Predator can still hunt down big money at the box office. Are Rick and Morty worth are are Rick and Morty worth 70 more episodes? And which is better, Del Taco or Taco Bell? And we'll answer the lifelong and we'll answer the lifelong question, which is better, Del Taco or Taco Bell? All this and more as we want all this and more as we reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse. And we're back once again with the PCC Multiverse. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate you you coming by, tuning in, and enjoying the program. But it wouldn't be a PCC Multiverse without my good friend. He is the man, the myth, the legend from Humanica Media. You gotta check out all the great things going on with his experience today at humanicamedia.com, Humanica Media on YouTube, and all of their great podcasts now on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, and so many other podcast outlets. It's my good friend, it's Josh Peterson. What's up, my friend?
Hey. And the answer to your earlier question is Del Taco.
Well, we'll delve a little bit more into that here in a sec, because later on in the episode, we're going to play a little bit of the current Topicocalypse show that covers that really, really important topic that needs to be delved into more deeply, and that is which is better, Del Taco or Taco Bell? I would probably say Jack in the Box tacos are better than both of them, but that's just me. But what
Um,
is this part where I get a no? You're wrong.
no, I mean, I that you changed the paradigm by putting Jack in the Box in there, so now I'm gonna have to think about this for a while.
Well, I was kind of mad this year that Jack in the Box turned the clock when it came to 2018 and got rid of their two tacos for 99 cents, and instead tried to package it into a three for $3 with a drink, making it still a little bit more expensive. But hey, they still threw me. They still threw me some free tacos for my birthday recently, so you know what? I'll take it. But we're going to have a great show for you today. We've got Rob McCallum standing by in the Cosmic Crossfire. Again, we're going to play some highlights from one of the latest episodes of Topicocalypse where they do talk about which is better, Taco Bell and Del Taco. Plus, we're going to be talking about Rick and Morty getting 70 more episodes and the lasting influence of Dungeons and Dragons almost 45 years later after its inception. But first, Josh, the Predator dropped its first trailer today, this week. I'm sorry, this week. The Predator dropped its first trailer this week, and well, there's reaction all across the board, similar to what we saw when Venom first came out with its first trailer. I'm going to ask you point blank, is the Predator worth rebooting at this point in time? Do you think it still has enough magic left to try and find an audience? I know Predators came out, about 4 or 5 years ago to mixed reviews and, well, actually mixed results at the box office. So Fox looks like it's trying to reboot that with some sort of end game now, with them trying to be becoming hybrid with humans and something like that. Just at some point in time, it looks very different now than what we're used to seeing out of the Predators from the past.
Yeah, the trailer was pretty vague. It seems like they're trying to do like everyone's trying to do hybrid creatures. It seems to be the staple of 90s reboots. You have Jurassic Park's doing hybrid dinosaurs and Predators doing hybrid predators. What does that entail though? What is that like? I before I say it's a good idea or a bad idea, I need to know more about what the idea is and what they're trying to do. But this one actually looks like some of it's going to be a flashback and some of it's going to be like we're getting a mixture of the last Predators, and we're also and a mixture of the Alien vs Predator Requiem that kind of took place in the a more like rural looking town. So it looks interesting, but it was far too vague. So maybe I need to watch it again or kind of look into some of the Easter eggs or breakdowns of the trailer. But I don't know, man. Like it feels like what does hybrid entail? Because we've seen that plot played out a bunch of times, and it's it's gonna have to be handled well for it to come across, especially if they want Predator to uh to keep going. Because I know that this film had a lot of trouble getting into production, so I'm just I want to know, is it going to be worth my time?
Same here. I I enjoyed the original Predator movie and its follow up Predator 2, which I thought is an underrated and very much not appreciated enough movie that I think that those two really stand out. I told you the story before how one of the first movies, actually the first movie I saw in a theater with Dolby surround sound was Predator 2, and I was just oohing and awing more of the sound experience and more than anything. So and now these days we just take it for granted. So tells you how old I am. But be that as it may, it still looks like it's going to be what maybe a generic action slash bordering on horror type flick, but it's trying to bring a new type of I guess twist with the evolution of the Predator and try and take it into a new realm. So hopefully, as I know Fox is banking on trying to, Fox is banking on this connecting with audiences so they can actually reboot the series as a whole and make more iterations. I'm not too keen on it at this point in time. I think Fox is going to have to do a little bit more to show me that this is going to be worth my time. I hope it is because, like I said, I have an affinity for the first two Predators that came out. The one I saw last in theaters with Adrian Brody and how they were all put on a different planet and trying to figure out what was going on with the predators up there in that planet on that planet. That movie just really was not very good at all to me, and obviously the poor performance necessitated maybe a reboot being decided upon by Fox. They're trying to go at it from a different angle. Will it pay off in the long run? I'm not sure. Seeing initial reactions on the internet and social media are kind of mixed at this point in time. But hey, Fox has got these properties that they're trying to go ahead and see if anything sticks before they sell off to Disney or Comcast, because Comcast is rumored to be trying to hone in on upping the bid for Fox and its properties away from Disney. Although, if Disney's really wants it, they can flash more cash in my opinion than Comcast. 60 billion plus already is what the asking price is already. So it's definitely going to be well worth Fox to go ahead and sell off these assets like the Predator and others. But there you can see Fox is just trying to throw some of these old properties they have and see if they can try and get any money off them before they go ahead and relinquish them to a Comcast or a Disney. I mean, is that something, because what we've seen last year with Alien and what we've seen, upcoming with what they're trying to do with Deadpool and another X-Men and so forth. They're trying to really go ahead and they're trying to go ahead and make sure that they have at least every attempt to gain money for themselves before they sell it off to Disney or Comcast.
Oh, that makes sense. But I mean, it sounds like Disney already has they're already making plans towards owning these properties. But yeah, I mean, it would make sense, but I feel like they are have already kind of resigned themselves to selling to somebody. But it would not be Comcast because Disney has far too much at stake in this deal, if you consider the Marvel properties. um yeah, what's up?
Oh no, I agree with you on that because at this point in time, they with the Marvel properties, the very prospect of an X-Men, Fantastic Four, all the villains, including Galactus, which has been heavily rumored to be if they do revisit another Avengers movie series, that he would probably, or he could be a leading candidate to be the villain in those series of movies. And also, of course, Deadpool, not to mention him. And we'll actually be talking more about him on next week's PCC Multiverse. It just, like you said, all these assets going to Fox is going to be a big win for Disney, and I don't see Comcast standing in the way for too long. And I think, you know, if it takes extra money to get the deal done, I think Disney's going to do it. I like you though. I have kind of mixed feelings on the Predator, but I don't blame Fox at all for trying to rehash and throw these things out there and try and reboot these series before it comes out of their hands.
Right, and I think that if Alien Covenant proved anything, it's that it's time for these old properties to evolve or die. People don't just want, creatures chasing people around and murdering them anymore. People want story. They want that, plus they want a storyline to go with it, and that was something that Ridley Scott didn't really take into account. He had the potential for a good Alien film, and then he completely threw it away. So I'm just hoping that with Predator, they kind of learn their lesson and will kind of focus as much on character development as they are on slaughtering people.
I think it's still too soon to reboot the series personally, but like I said before, if they're going to be giving up all their properties in the near future, it's, I guess right now it's just Fox is in the mode of let's just keep throwing those darts out and let's see what sticks. So we'll have to wait and see. I would like to actually get a chance to view more trailers explaining what's going on with the Predator before we go ahead and say definitively it's a movie you should see or not see. I know it's so far at this point, it's not high up on my list, but things can change depending on the look. I mean, we've seen things with Venom with a better showing in its second trailer that a lot more people are impressed with the picture than they were after the first. So maybe the Predator can follow suit in that aspect.
Yeah, I hope so. Um, we'll see. It's kind of a weird time for movies because everything's dominated by superhero and other franchise stuff. So I see why Predator is such an important thing for them. But again, like the movies have changed significantly since the first Predator came out, just like they've changed significantly since the first Alien came out. So it's time to either evolve or die. And I know that Fox has another Die Hard in the pipeline too. So we're gonna see, what happens to all these movies and if they can survive and how they're planning on doing that, or else, it's reboot. And I think that a reboot is probably a lot riskier than just continuing what they already have.
This is true. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. And it's going to be, we're going to have to see if a Die Hard again would be still something that people want to see, or another Alien, or even an X-Men with the Jean Grey story. Fantastic Four, if it does get greenlit again, and even something like the Predator, if people are still interested in checking out the series, and if people are still wanting to go ahead and hunt down and track down this Predator and catch it on theaters anytime soon. What are your thoughts on the Predator? Are you excited to see it? Did you like the new trailer that came out? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also, as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. Well, it's going to be a great show we have for you out there today. Or else, like I said, we've got Rob McCallum standing by in the Cosmic Crossfire to talk some great pop culture stuff. Also, as well, later in the show, we're going to play you some highlights from one of the latest Topicocalypse episodes covering that deep, dark topic that we talked about earlier. Which is better, Taco Bell or Del Taco? Also, as well, we've got talk about Dungeons & Dragons at almost year 45 and the influence it has, and how, and if it's still as big as ever, or if it's still important as ever to gaming. And we'll talk about Rick and Morty getting 70 more episodes and wondering if it actually is worth it for not only the creators of Rick and Morty, but for fans as well. But first, we've got our good friend. It is Plasma Z. This is Shadows of Plasma Z. This is Shadows of Chernobyl. And this is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with the PCC Multiverse. We just want to make sure and let you know our shows are being streamed 7 days a week to online radio stations, and that we deliver 2 brand new shows covering the latest in pop culture every Monday and Friday to Apple Podcasts or our over 30 different podcast networks. Just subscribe to any one of them on the Pop Culture Cosmos channel to get extra content, or just check out the Pop Culture Cosmos Facebook page for our entire radio schedule and a list of just those podcast networks. I know you've got a great thing going on, like I said earlier, with Humanica Media. So tell me, man, Josh, you got to tell me what's going on with that great site known as Humanica Media.
Just put up an interview today with our good friend Chad Smith of Hyperschmidt, not to be confused with the drummer of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. There's a new Inside Sports going up tomorrow, and that's it right now. Another new Topicocalypse can be expected on Sunday nights, and yeah, we're kind of narrowing down our production schedule here.
I hear that, but there's still a lot of great things going on. You got to check it out today on humanicamedia.com, Humanica Media on YouTube, and all their shows on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, and all those many other podcast networks. Josh, I just got word this week that the creators of Rick and Morty, through social media, just announced that they got extended for, get this, not just 1 season, not just 2 seasons, but 70, that's right, 70 more episodes. Rick and Morty has been something that's been very popular ever since it came on TV, and it's something that people are just going gaga over as far as fan interest is concerned. It's a hot property at this point in time, but let me ask you this, Josh. Do you think after 70 episodes, or even, do you think after 70 episodes, going in maybe 10, 20, 30 down the line, do you think it will retain its popularity and its unique imprint on pop culture 70 episodes more into the series?
Yes and no. I think it's going to end up being just from, I've only watched 1 episode, and that was the one where they're doing the Alien Covenant thing. And that, it was funny, but it's one of those shows that like you're going to grow out of eventually. And I know a lot of people have followed it faithfully, but I think it could either end up going the way of Family Guy or Futurama, where it'll go away for a bit and then it'll come back, or it'll be like Futurama, where it'll be really popular for a while and then it'll go away, and then they'll have like one-off like movies and stuff. So I personally, like, I get why people like it, and I can't watch it. I don't watch it that much, but it's just one of those things, like it's a moment in time, and as soon as, like, it's the same thing, like all the people that watched Family Guy when it first came out don't watch it anymore. So that's what I'm thinking is going to happen with Rick and Morty, because eventually people are going to get like it pop culture, sorry, it's only going to last as long as there's something in pop culture to make fun of. But look at it, a lot of the movies that they make fun of in the show it's the same movies coming out all the time, so eventually they're going to run out of jokes, it feels like to me. But I don't know, where do you stand on it?
Can you repeat the last couple seconds? It kind of,
yeah, so Rick and Morty is going to have, it makes fun of pop culture, and that's what keeps it relevant. But pop culture, all the stuff coming out like in theaters and on TV, it's all the same. There's nothing hardly ever changes with it. So they're going to have to either continue to be clever, or they're just going to run out of jokes. So I think that it's funny now, but I have a feeling people are going to get tired of it. But I don't know. Where do you stand on that?
I think it reminds me a lot of South Park, how it really was just basically a cutting edge extremely popular show back when it originated in the 90s. And I thought it was really a show that I got into heavily, and I was watching week after week. But eventually, it did tire out for me, and as I know, it did for a lot of other people. Now, it still has retained an audience over the years, but I'm between you and I, and on the rating show as well, that it has not retained that same kind of audience as it once had. It's still, because because the way it's made, and it's rushed out, so to match what's going on with current events, it still tries and it still does a very good job of translating itself to a current and modern audience. But like I said, too much of a good thing people seem to go ahead and stray away from. We've seen that with shows like South Park, like The Simpsons, like The Walking Dead, and so many others that after 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 seasons even have really just, I guess, leveled off as far as the number of people watching it. Will we see the same thing from Rick or Morty? Will people get tired of, whatever? Will people get tired of what they do week in and week out with their episodes? I have a feeling they're not going to be able to retain such a high audience after 70 episodes, or even as they close in on that mark. But I still think they're going to be able to retain some kind of audience that's consistently watches them, and that will continue to provide the network with the kind of ratings that they need for that show. And it still provides a cornerstone and a franchise for the evening that they're on. I've seen the show as well. It does have some humorous moments. I like it personally, but I don't like it enough to follow it on a week-to-week basis as well. Like you, I follow it based on the topic that they're talking about, or that whatever's the main part of what is it, whatever the main part of their narrative is for that show. But it is still a very well-made show. I like the references when I do see it, and I do think it's a funny show that people, I can understand, get hooked on week in and week out. But I do think, as we've seen with so many other shows, that there is going to come a point in time when people will tire a little bit of Rick and Morty, and that they will not be able to retain their current audience that they have 70 episodes down the road.
Yeah, because look at it. We were all huge South Park fans when it first came on. Like, I remember watching just about every episode of it, not because I wanted to be like the cool kid who watched edgy things, but just because it was, it was on and it was relevant, and people, it was just something to do. And I followed it faithfully. And then, I kind of grew up, drifted away from the series, and now I come back, but I only watch it when, it's something that I has a good topic, or I people are telling me I need to see this episode. It's not something I watch faithfully anymore, and I feel like that's kind of where the Rick and Morty audience might go eventually.
Exactly. It's because there's not that many people that will watch it on a week-to-week basis. I know I've spoken in the past with Jason Todd Feinberg on his Honeyqueen show, and he is such a devoted fan, and I respect him for it. And we've talked at length about South Park over the many years that they've been out. But I agree with you. I think Rick and Morty will follow that same traditional path of seeing the highs of highs when it comes to ratings, but they will also at some point in time level off as their fan base goes into a different direction. What are your thoughts on Rick and Morty getting extended for 70? That's right, you heard me. 70 more episodes. Are you excited for that? Are you happy that they got the extension, that you're going to be seeing a lot more of them in the future? Or are you tired of the show already? Or do you think you will be at some point in time? Share us your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. When we come back, we're going to be playing some highlights of one of the latest Topicocalypse episodes, covering that all important topic that I know everybody around the world's talking about, and that is which fast food is better, Del Taco or Taco Bell? We're going to get that burning question answered right after the break. This is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with the PCC Multiverse. This is Gerald Glassford along with my good friend Josh Peterson here to close out the show. Thanking you so much for sticking around and enjoying the whole program. Want to thank Rob McCallum for stopping by on the Cosmic Crossfire. You got to check out his project that he currently has on Kickstarter, Galaxy Hope. Just go to kickstarter.com, search out Galaxy Hope, and support it today. You'll be supporting a great cause, a great project, and what I assume, if it gets funded, an awesome chance to see an unofficial Star Wars documentary like none other that's ever been made before. Also, as well, want to thank everybody from the Topicocalypse, including you, Josh, that answered that burning question, that went out to answer that burning question, which is better, Del Taco and Taco Bell. If you have thoughts on which is better yourself out there, all you got to do is ask us, share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com, or send us a message on Facebook and Twitter, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanity Media, and Game Source. And we'll be glad to, go back and forth on why we think Del Taco or Taco Bell is better. Josh, as we head on out, I just checked the stats a little while ago in regards to a certain game that both you and I have become familiar with over the years that we've played it. Dungeons and Dragons is almost 45 years old, my friend. Can you believe it? 45 years old. It's something that I remember as a kid enjoying it, playing, I'm trying to obtain as many modules as I could, being enthused when I saw the big Dungeon Master Guide. I had that big handbook, that big, thick, 500, 600 page guidebook that was like huge and thick, and you had to read it to learn all the classes and learn all the characters and understand exactly how the game is played. And then you would play with the friends. And I didn't like to be Dungeon Master. I actually like to be more like playing it and actually being Dungeon Master myself. I did Dungeon Master on occasion, but I actually like playing with it and trying to see whatever havoc I could cause while playing it. And I've said before on record here on the show, just my enjoyment in playing it and me and a friend, trying to be so disruptive with, going at each other with our minions, 10,000, 20,000 strong, going at each other and just laughing so hard. Tears were coming out of my face and I was falling out of a chair what I was doing, just having a great time. I know you've got some great memories too with Dungeons and Dragons, but the reason why I wanted to bring it up as a topic today is because the influence after almost 45 years is still there, with modules and games being set in sort of like a Dungeons and Dragons universe, or games that are being directly influenced from Dungeons and Dragons still being released, new iterations released, and also Dungeons and Dragons themselves still going strong at almost 45 today.
Yeah, it's impressive. Honestly, it's something that has fueled the imagination of kids and nerds and adults for a long time. And it's the first thing that's kind of like, it's one of those games where it takes a long time to learn how to play a game. I mean, not really, but like in order to become good at a game, like it takes a long time to become good at like Monopoly or chess or checkers or something. But if like you have kids or you have a younger brother, getting them into Dungeons and Dragons is one of the easiest things. And what really kills me about, the game, not about the game itself, is that it's just that people don't people feel embarrassed by doing things like that, and they shouldn't, because it's such a good time. They're always like, "Oh, that's stupid." And they don't really give it a chance. And that's like your people who gave up on their dreams and just like work 9 to 5 jobs and kill themselves for a paycheck. But no, good for this. It's awesome, man. Like honestly, like anybody can play it, and it's super accessible. I don't like to be the dungeon master either. I like to be the person out there just like doing stupid things and just
I'm
having.
going to pull out my 50 hit point sword and try and stab at that huge 20-foot tarantula.
Right, right. Like we're, on Super BS we play Numenera a lot, so that's
And that's actually has a direct influence from the world of Dungeons and Dragons.
yeah, it's also made by Monty Cook Games, who Monty Cook is the one who made Dungeons and Dragons. But uh yeah, it's a fun game, and honestly, like it's good practice for telling stories and being able to visualize things. And I don't know why more people don't play it. It's kind of got its own unique little niche, but I think it's awesome and I love playing it. And you know, good for Stranger Things has been kind of bringing more attention to it, which is cool. But it has influenced a whole subculture of nerds coming out here, and like even comic books and stuff like that. So they've it's had a humongous impact on society and your that culture. As far as all the pop culture, it's had a huge impact on pop culture, and I'm stoked to see where it goes, and I'm stoked that they survived that terrible movie that came out, what, 15 years ago.
Yes, and there was actually some darker times for the actual series. What, maybe the mid to late 90s, early 2000s may have been some times where Dungeons and Dragons was almost forgotten about as something from the past, but Dungeons and Dragons is again alive and well and very strong and out there, and you can see its influence in so many other games. It reminds me of when I used to go to hobby shops back in the 80s when Dungeons and Dragons was at one of its peaks, and you would go there and not only see all the Dungeons and Dragons modules, and you would see, okay, what's coming out next for it. Oh, that's so awesome! This module here, this module there. What a new adventure is coming out for it next. But you would also see competitors from every type of realm that delved into the same type of aspects and rules that Dungeons and Dragons had, from the future, with futuristic, from mobster, from superhero, from spies, all these different types of genres, which still held that type of, roll some dice, you have your characters, you build them up, and you go with a party, and you have someone controlling the action. So many different other types of games that still held the same type of base that Dungeons and Dragons had, and that were directly tied into the influence that Dungeons and Dragons had, was just truly amazing at that time. And like you said, with Luminera, you're seeing a lot of that influence still there with that, and so many other games that are tied into that Dungeons and Dragons universe in one way or another. And that's due to the success, the continued success of Dungeons and Dragons, and hopefully that it will be going strong for another 45 years going forward. What
Let's
are your thoughts? Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, let's hope. Let us hope that more people are willing to give in to their imaginations and just sit down and give the game a try. It's not like it takes like a well, it does take a long time to play, but it's fun, and a lot of people, there would be more players if people would just be willing to like look outside the, oh man, people are gonna think I'm a nerd or it's gonna embarrass me. Like if they would just sit down and play the game and find out for themselves how enjoyable it is, I think we'd all be a lot better off.
We definitely would. And if you want to get a taste out there what it's like, go to Twitch, go to YouTube, just type in Dungeons and Dragons, and you'll see actual games taking place. You'll get to watch old streams, both current and a little bit older, but that are done pretty much on a daily and weekly basis. And also, the guys from the Super BS Gamescast have not only done one but two different Luminera sessions that they've done, that they've aired, and that is available on the Super BS Gamescast channel, so you can check that out. It is a little bit of a long listen, but I will tell you this from personal experience: these guys had one heck of a good time. There was just nonstop laughter going around for about an hour and a half, hour, 45 minutes, 2 hours, but it is definitely great listening. And if you want to get more of a concept, there's also other great Dungeons and Dragons podcasts out there as well. And just type it in on a Google search or a Bing search or what have you, and you'll be pleasantly surprised, and you'll get a chance to, if you haven't been there for a while, get back into, or if you haven't done it already, get into the world of Dungeons and Dragons, because it definitely is worth it. What are your thoughts on Dungeons and Dragons as it gets near the age of 45? Are you a fan of it? Did you used to play it back in the past and maybe you're thinking about getting back into it now? Or are you even curious about it and maybe would like to know a little bit more about it? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanity Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. And we'll actually help, if you reach out to us, we can actually go ahead and give you some suggestions on where to go, what to watch, and what to listen to help you maybe get back into or get into the world of Dungeons and Dragons. Josh, any last thoughts on the way out for this weekend, my friend? I know we got some great things going on. You've still got some reviews to work on. I know I just got some more reviews myself for some games coming up here in the near future as well. But what's going on? What is there anything you wanted to mention before we head on out?
I'm working on a God of War review, so that'll pop up here soon. Just trying to catch up with things, but yeah, definitely check out all the good stuff that we've got going for you.
One last thing, my friend. Are you finally getting on board with the A train known as the Las Vegas Golden Knights?
No, and I just hate that they're doing so well. It's just as my prediction was that it was going to be San Jose and Nashville going in the conference final, and I just could not be more wrong. And who in their right mind would have expected Winnipeg to get this far? Like that's amazing. They usually get knocked out within like the first round, so that's good for them. Good for them. And the Pens are gone too. Like honestly, it's just a weird season. I don't even know. I'm not even gonna make any predictions. I'm just gonna watch the chaos unfold.
Well, I did not, for another individual, to think that they were not going to make it past the second round. So even I am surprised at where they're at. But they're closing in on possibly a trip to the Stanley Cup. So I will end this show with 3 more words that all you Vegas fans want to hear, and that's go, Knights, go.
Don't encourage them.
Go, Knights, go. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day right here in the PCC Multiverse. We thank you for listening, and here's hoping you have yourself a great day. And we're going to keep it hot. All right, here we go. On this week's episode, we're talking Fortnite's Master Stroke with Thanos, why Cobra Kai gives you a reason to buy YouTube Red, and why wasn't somebody keeping an eye on Iron Man's suit? And why wasn't somebody keeping an eye on Iron Man's suit? All this and more as we once again delve into the pop culture cosmos. And we're back for another edition of the Pop Culture Cosmos. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly want to thank you for tuning in each and every week to both our great shows. But it wouldn't be a Pop Culture Cosmos without my good friend. He is the man of myth, the legend behind Humanity Media. You gotta check out all the great stuff that Humanity Media has going on today at humanitymedia.com, their YouTube channel, and all their great shows on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, and all those other great podcast networks. It is my good friend, amigo. It is Josh Peterson. What's up, man?
Not much, dude. I'm not always standing behind Humanican Media. I sometimes stand beside Humanican Media. And
or in front, maybe.
Sometimes we just watch the sunset, and it just depends on the day of the week, I guess.
Or maybe you're parallel to it. All right, I'll have to.
Piggyback rides do happen too.
There you go. Okay. Well, next time I'll be more geometrically correct on that. So, But we've got another great episode to talk about today. We've got Rob McCallum standing by one more time in the Cosmic Crossfire. He's got some awesome pop culture stuff to talk about here in just a little bit. We're also going to be playing a little bit from one of the latest Topicocalypse episodes, which includes their thoughts on Avengers Infinity War. So I'm going to let Josh talk a little bit more about that here coming up in a bit as well. Plus, we're going to be talking about a guilty pleasure for us for those who like shows from the 80s, for those who like movies from the 80s. It is Cobra Kai. And I'm going to tell you why later here in the program, why you might consider getting YouTube Red, because this show really is worth talking about. Plus, also as well, we're going to be talking about what happened to Iron Man's suit, and well, does this lead into other stuff as far as other Marvel collectibles being worth a whole lot of money? We're going to be talking about that and a whole lot more on today's show. But first, Josh, they've done it again. I'll tell you what, we've talked about here in recent past about the success of the Battle Royale genre. I know you're not a big fan of it, but you do recognize and respect its success. Amazingly, the console makers out there are making still very good progress as for when it comes to their own profit dollars. Activision and EA are, even in despite this current climate, are still turning out record profits. But PUBG and Fortnite, with Fortnite now becoming the king of the top, now become the king of the hill when it comes to the video game scene, really pulled off a master stroke with the limited time feature, the Infinity Gauntlet, throwing it in there with Thanos, you getting the chance and opportunity within the game of Fortnite to become Thanos. So I ask you, Josh, this tie-in to the Marvel movie Infinity War, which has done obviously big bucks all around the world. It is now closing in, if it's not already by the time you hear this, the biggest movie of 2018. How big of a deal is this getting involved with Fortnite, and does this make Fortnite even more bigger and more popular than it was before, if that could actually happen?
It's clever marketing. I'll give them that much. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, it's cool, and I've enjoyed seeing some of the videos and what people are doing with it. And I like just seeing Thanos running around there swinging things, and it's fun. It's a novelty, but a lot of the things that like they were doing with Thanos, like I've seen, you can do with regular characters. So I don't know. I mean, it's cool. It's just a skin. It's a nifty little marketing thing that they're doing. But uh, yeah, I guess like if you're an indie game like that and you have made a deal with Marvel, you must be doing something right, or people are taking notice. And it just makes me wonder, like, what's going to happen in the future. When Deadpool comes out, are we going to get a Deadpool special edition type thing? And how long is it going to last? And uh yeah, that's just cool because it opens the doors. And what I do appreciate about Fortnite is that they've shown that indie game makers can make it. They can go on to do big things if they get lucky. So good for them, man. How do you feel about it?
I agree with you. It tells you, well, they're not such a small thing. It's Epic, because they do make a lot of money off the Unreal engines, and obviously they made a ton of cash from the Gears of War series when they had it, and so much more. But this really fell into their lap, because the actual game of Fortnite, which you can still play, is not the one everybody cares about. It's the Battle Royale mode that seems to get everybody into it. And they've really just by leaps and bounds just skipped over PUBG and made PUBG like, I mean, this time last year we were talking about PUBG as the leading video game out there, and it not only has surpassed it, but it has surpassed it by leaps and bounds. And them making a deal with Thanos for a limited time only within the Fortnite Battle Royale is a very cool concept, and it could lead to more challenges by PUBG or even Epic like you said, with a Deadpool or some other characters down the road that people can really connect to. And it just speaks to the popularity of this franchise. I mean, I hear about Fortnite every day almost within outside the video game realm. I mean, there's talk about the Boston Red Sox pitcher David Price getting carpal tunnel syndrome and everybody pointing to his Fortnite addiction. We hear about other sports stars, both pro and college, having Fortnite addictions of their own. And it's now bleeding over outside of the video game realm into the world of regular worlds, into the regular world where people are trying to figure out, okay, what is this Fortnite and what it's all about? I know my wife, I know my family, I even know my daughters at school when they hear all the time now. They all they hear is Fortnite, 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 Fortnite. Oh no, not again, Fortnite. That's all they're hearing at school from their friends. So it definitely is something that people are talking about. It's obviously something people are playing, and if they keep on going to the lengths that they're doing with not only just adding things like a limited time Thanos, but and limited time marketing campaigns such as this, but what they did with making it mobile, PUBG making itself mobile, and now they're both just killing it on the mobile charts and Apple and Android charts. Just these smart moves that they're making, they're taking the indie game concept and just blowing it out of the water into something that is generating as much, if not more than any game that's virtually out there, by making all these smart moves and just continuing to take all these right steps to try and lengthen the battle royale genre even more.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, I'm not a huge fan of the battle royale genre.
And you said it's a fad, but it's hard to see it going away quickly because of all the smart steps that they're doing.
Yeah, so here's the thing, I think they know that they're a moment in time, and what they're doing is smart because they're trying to make sure they stay as relevant as possible for as long as possible. And who's to say, like, if a Fortnite 2 or a PUBG 2 ever comes out, that it won't regain popularity, but they're doing their part to stay in the spotlight, especially, like, it's smart too, considering you have new Call of Duty coming out, and you have a new Battlefield allegedly being announced, and uh Gears of War, and who knows what's going on with Halo, but you have all these big AAA titles coming out, and they want to make sure that they don't lose players to it, and they're being smart by making deals with Marvel, and who knows what else the future might hold. But yeah,
They're also talking about those games, Battlefield and Call of Duty, possibly bringing out their own versions of the battle royale genre as well.
yeah, and that I'm curious too, because that could go both ways. It could either be a Fortnite, be a
Hold up, Josh. Hold up.
go back and play Fortnite. So that's
Hold up. I couldn't hear you because it lagged. I'm sorry, man. It lagged. Go ahead.
I said that can either be a thorn in the side of Fortnite or a thorn in the side of Call of Duty, because if Call of Duty is going to go battle royale, people are probably going to think, why not just play Fortnite then in that case? So it's going to be interesting. Will these games consume each other, or will they just stay strong and exist side by side? Who knows?
It is going to be interesting to see. I think smart moves like they're doing right now with the marketing tie-ins, plus also as well the way that they're supporting new technology, like being able to transport their games onto a mobile platform and do it well. Both PUBG and Fortnite are just going to continue this for at least the foreseeable future. You're right. Something's going to come along in the video game genre and blow those games out of the water at some point in time. It's sick. It's sick. It's sick. It's cyclical. It's cyclical. It's evolutionary. It's continuous cycles as far as something else coming in. People like the horde mode. People like that for a while. Everybody made horde modes. Then it was done. Now zombies. Everybody likes zombie modes. And now that's become passe, so to speak. And now everybody likes battle royale modes. That before it was survival stuff. And it's going to be just there's going to be something. There's there's going to be something coming along that's going to replace the battle royale genre at the top at some point in time down the road. But and you're right. I think the makers of PUBG and Fortnite both understand that. They realize this is their time in the sun, and they're taking advantage of it, and they're making all the right moves at this point in time to go ahead and try and continue that 15 minutes of fame for as long as possible and try and drag it out as long as possible. But right now, the battle royale genre, especially Fortnite, is in big time. It's on everybody's thoughts out there that likes gaming. Whether they even like the game or not, they are aware of Fortnite and they're aware of PUBG and they're aware just how effective that game is. Though they're just those games are in the video game industry, and they're very aware of what their friends are playing and what they're into. And PUBG, and especially Fortnite, now that it's making all the right moves, including the limited time only Thanos that you can get with the Infinity Gauntlet, those steps, if they continue, are just going to keep the battle royale genre going strong for at least the foreseeable future. What are your thoughts on Thanos joining in on the fun in Fortnite? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Are you like it? Are you into it right now at Fortnite as so many other players are? Or do you really care? Or are you like Josh that just doesn't have a thing for the battle royale genre? Share us your thoughts, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. We've got a great show. Like I said, we've got Rob McCallum standing by in the Cosmic Crossfire. We've also got a taste of one of the latest Topicocalypse with the crew talking about their thoughts on the big movie that's out there, Avengers Infinity War. Plus, also as well, we're going to be talking some Cobra Kai. It's the return of Ralph Macchio and just the return of all the characters from Karate Kid, and just so happy to see it, and why it is actually something that you might be interested in, so interested that you might want to actually buy YouTube Red just for this show. We'll tell you more about that. And then also as well, we're going to be talking about we're also going to be talking about what happened to Iron Man's suit, and if there was any suits that we would be interested as far as buying on the black market. We're gonna talk about this and a whole lot more. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos. But first, it's our good friend. It's Chad from Hyperschmidt. This is After All, and this is the Pop Culture Cosmos. Welcome back to the show. Just want to make sure and let you know our shows are being streamed 7 days a week on online radio stations, and that we deliver 2 brand new shows covering the latest in pop culture every Monday and Friday to Apple Podcasts or over 30 different podcast networks. Just subscribe to any one of them on the Pop Culture Cosmos channel to get extra content, or just check out the Pop Culture Cosmos Pop Culture Cosmos Facebook page for our entire radio schedule and a list of those podcast networks. Josh, what is the latest and greatest coming up this week on your awesome experience known as Humanica Media?
New Topicocalypse just went up today. We have an interview with Chad, our good friend Chad Smith of Hyperschmidt. There'll be a new Super BS coming up here on Thursday, and a new today's Thursday. Oh, so it dropped tonight. All right, so yeah, you can go check that out right now, actually. And then there's a new Inside Sports that'll be up on Saturday, so definitely be sure to check that out if you've been following the NHL playoffs.
That's great to hear. I know Charles is doing a great job with that show. It's good to see him pumping out those shows out there, covering the latest in the NHL playoffs. I know the NBA playoffs are right around the corner as well. I know everybody's already tuning into the playoffs that's coming this week as far as the Western and Eastern Conference Finals. So looking forward to that as well. It's getting right in the middle of it as we speak. So It's getting very juicy. Where you got the NHL and the NBA in their conference finals. Go Knights, go! But I tell you what, if you got to check out the latest updates in hockey, check it out at Inside Sports and all the other great shows by checking out today on humanitymedia.com. Josh, have you ever seen The Karate Kid? I'm going to put it right out there. Start off the segment by going, have you ever seen I guess one of the epitomes of pop culture in the 80s, the Karate Kid?
I have. I've seen the old Karate Kid, and I regrettably have seen the new Karate Kid.
I'm not even going to touch the new Karate Kid with a 10-foot pole, man. I couldn't sit through 10 minutes of it. It's just awful.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I don't even want to talk about it.
I want to talk about Karate Kid. I'm not talking about Karate Kid Part 2. No, that was just as bad. I'm talking about the original Karate Kid. You have seen the original Karate Kid, correct?
I have, and yes, I did love it.
Well, I am on the other side of the fence. I didn't necessarily not love it or hate it or anything like that. I didn't necessarily hate it, but I've seen it
Real
back
quick,
in the 80s.
real quick, keep in mind that I saw Karate Kid around the same time that I saw Three Ninjas. So I love that movie too. So it's possible that if I were to go back and watch it today, that it probably would feel like watching Three Ninjas today, in which case it would not be that great.
Well, I know it does not hold up well. I couldn't watch it today and give it that same type of enjoyment at all, but I thought it was okay when it came out, but I understood that it connected with an audience at that point in time because they truly loved this underdog story and the unique way it was approaching as far as Mr. Miyagi teaching Daniel the actual ins and outs of life as he's learning karate. So I could understand that. But flash forward over 30 years later, and YouTube Red, along with executive producer Will Smith and a lot of other well-known names within the movie and TV industry, have come up with a great series called Cobra Kai. And like I said, I am not one to really lay a whole bunch of praise on the Karate Kid, but one of the aspects that I guess I didn't know I wanted to see, but I guess I really did want to see was what happened to the star that actually just got, what happened to the guy that got kicked and knocked out by Daniel in that final match in the original Karate Kid, and what happened to the name and the dojo Cobra Kai itself. Well, those questions get answered and a whole lot more because Cobra Kai is a 10-episode series on YouTube Red, and I will tell you, it's obviously it brings back a little bit of the cheesiness of Karate Kid, but I give it some high marks. I might be doing an article down the road on it, just explaining more why it's a great show that you need to watch. Even if you didn't see the original Karate Kid, there's enough highlights and flashbacks from the movie in there to give you an idea what's going on. It is just a really good show outlining the Karate Kid universe from a different aspect, as it basically follows the story from another point of view, from what happened to Daniel's victim in the original Karate Kid. And I'll tell you what, it does a great job of doing so, and how the rebuilding of the Cobra Kai name and the Cobra Kai dojo come into place, and how it builds towards and Josh, I know one of the things you and I both kind of get ill on are those hokey dokey high school films. But in this case, I think it incorporates those high school films with love, friendship, bullying, things of that nature, and incorporates it in a pretty good way that it really makes this series Cobra Kai one to watch, and truly something that people need to get into. So I ask you, Josh, Cobra Kai, like I said, it's getting a lot of rave reviews all over the place. It is that good. And it shows Daniel LaRusso, the character, in a different light as well, and shows an aspect of his life as it is now in modern times that people would be actually interested to see as well. So I ask you, is Cobra Kai something that you might be interested in, so much so that a subscription to YouTube Red could be down the corner?
Well, you get a free trial of YouTube Red, but yeah, from what I understand, YouTube Red's actually has some decent content, and if Cobra Kai is any indication, we're probably gonna get some more content. I just hate the idea of giving in to those greedy capitalists, demonetizing my videos. But yeah, anyways, if worse comes to worse, I might honestly, everything's going to be streaming here. Like I'm thinking about getting rid of cable just to do streaming services. So we'll see, man. Like I do want to watch Cobra Kai. I thought that was going to be like a one-time thing, but it looks like it's gained popularity. And if you are giving it glowing reviews, then I think it might be something I want to look into.
It is a binge it. I mean, the last show I asked people to watch on a binging format is The Alienist, and this is no less the same. William Zabka, who plays Johnny Lawrence, who was that guy who came up on the short end of the stick in the original movie, is back, and the way he goes about doing things at life at this point in time, and the way the show centers around him as almost the hero in this point of view, but still trying to emulate some of the Cobra Kai's values is truly worth watching. How he motivates the kids in this film to become his new dojo or reimagine Cobra Kai dojo it's truly a special thing, and it does lead up to a tournament. I will say that, but the aspects of which and how it ties in and who wins and who loses, that I'm not going to go into. You're going to have to find out yourself. The kids in the actual series are actually well acted, and I do want to compliment them highly on it. And that's something that surprised me greatly, that for one of the few times, I guess this and Spider-Man Homecoming, I'm actually interested in seeing how these kids develop in the high school format, as opposed to just being, oh my gosh, turned off by it. So that to me is just, I think that's probably the best way I can say it, because not only are you interested in learning more about the relationship or lack thereof between Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso, aka William Zabka and Ralph Macchio, their characters, but also as well the kids in the actual high school and how they're interacting with each other and all the problems that normally come out of high school. Like I said, this is something that I normally wouldn't care about, but the way that it's executed is something remarkable. YouTube Red has already greenlit a second season of Cobra Kai, because the events at the end of the 10th episode pretty much cast a lot of questions for another season. So they were very smart in doing so. I think it's definitely something that people should watch. It answers a lot of questions for fans of the old movie. But even if you didn't watch the old movie, enough is given for you that you'll enjoy it nonetheless, although it does help to watch the movie beforehand as well.
Yeah, I want to check it out. I'm intrigued. So we'll see, man. Yeah, I gotta get honestly, like I gotta renew all my subscriptions. Like I'd stop paying for Netflix. There's a lot of shows on there. So probably this summer I'll sit down and binge some shows, and then I'll get back to you on that.
Absolutely. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And like I said, hopefully I get a chance to relay more thoughts on it on our site, popculturecosmos.wordpress.com. What are your thoughts on Cobra Kai? Are you showing no mercy when it comes to the show? Or do you actually want to go ahead and just gain this experience one more time and delve into the world of the Karate Kid, even if you're like me and didn't even know you wanted to in the first place? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Humanica Media, Game Source, and Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook and Twitter as well. Coming up next, we've got the guys and gals from Topicocalypse. They're going to be talking about Avengers Infinity War. Who is the crew again? heading up this conversation?
This is me, Big Dog, returning friend of the show, Brett Cruz, and his girlfriend, Allie Orr. So it's a little different lineup, but a very good conversation.
Absolutely. And you're going to be hearing a bit of that. And for the whole show, just got to check it out today. Topicocalypse on Podbean and so many other podcast outlets. But you'll be getting a taste of that right after the break. Their thoughts, the Topicocalypse crew, on Avengers Infinity War. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos. And we're back to close out the show. Want to thank you so much for sticking around and enjoying the whole program. Want to give a big shout out, as always, to Rob McCallum for stepping in the middle of the Cosmic Crossfire. And of course, my good friend Josh and his crew with Topicocalypse for sharing their thoughts on the big movie of the year, Avengers Infinity War, which at this point in time, as you're hearing this, should be the number one movie so far of 2018. Do you still think it's going to make $2 billion? It debuted big in China this past weekend.
Yep, I still think it's well on its way.
I hope so as well. I was, like I said, on the fence. I was thinking maybe it's 1.7, 1.8. I'm hoping as well that it'll translate into $2 billion. It's still on track, so we'll have to wait and see. I'm rooting for it, and I think it's a great film, and I think everybody should get the chance to see it as soon as possible. Josh, before we head on out, speaking of Infinity War, speaking of Marvel's Avengers, news came to light that the original Iron Man suit from the 2008 film was stolen from where it was being held. But the problem is that they don't know the exact date and time when it was stolen, and that it was done over a several week period at some point in time. It was done at some point in time. It was done at some point in time over a several week period. So they're going to have to go back and find any irregularities and look through tapes and all that, figure out what's going on. Your thoughts on Iron Man's suit being stolen, and why wasn't it on public display in the first place, especially with Infinity War to hype it up even more?
They stole one piece at a time. So, like, what does that mean? They took a boot and then a glove and then a helmet, or
Well, that's not how they did it. I thought they stole the suit entirely.
oh, I don't know. You said they worked on it a little bit at a time, so it's just
No, nobody knows when they stole it.
oh, got it. And how
And
would
they
they?
only have a block. They only have a block of time, which they know with the storage facility that had the suit. They only know what some point in time, when they checked it off, when they last physically saw it. And then recently, and I think it was late April, when they realized, I think it was between February and April, that they cannot account for when it was stolen particularly. So that, has me scratching my head thinking that, okay, why isn't this suit being displayed anywhere to hype up Infinity War, like maybe somewhere in Hollywood, or, near you at Disneyland?
They have a Iron Man suit at Disneyland, if I remember correctly. But yeah, no, it's a good question. Plot twist: what if it's actually they're filming Ant-Man 3, and this is just they're not telling anyone? Kind of like how Will Ferrell went into the Lakers game and hit that cheerleader in the face without telling anybody. It's all just candid.
That's right. I remember that. I think it was a former women's wrestler that got hit, but yeah, she did the dive on that one. It was very much planned. So, but unbeknownst to the crowd, that was. I don't know. I just don't understand how you cannot account for that suit, especially with such a big movie and a way to promote it and use all your assets and tools to promote whatever it is you got. Now, mind you, even the smallest amount could have done good, but we've got a Marvel station out here in Vegas. They could have put it there, for goodness sakes, but it is worth about $325,000 reportedly. I think it would go higher right now if it went on auction. So I ask you, is there?
Sorry.
What?
I was going to say, the question is, what are they going to do with it?
Exactly. It's going to go in someone's private collection, probably. They're trying to sell it on the black market or what have you. Speaking of the black market, my friend, dun, 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 what Marvel property do you think you'd be interested in seeing if it were to appear on the black market?
We're talking about props, not right, not the actual like super powered suits.
No, and not the actual superpowers themselves. No, this is not superhero RS. But if you could actually get some type, or actually have the chance to obtain, well, let's say legally, had the chance to obtain something of value from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, what would it be?
I would take Thor's costume, honestly. Like, I know that's weird, but like, if I were to show up to a party wearing armor and a cape, I don't think anyone's gonna mess with me. In fact, like, I won't even have to worry about starting conversations because nothing starts a conversation like a red cape.
What about the hammer?
Well, that's kind of implied, so I guess that would come with it. Or I would just hold my hand out and be like, "Hold on 1 second," and then uh, it would never show up. So I would just look like an idiot in a red cape instead of a really cool guy in a red cape.
I'm not going to go there, but all right, you set yourself up for that, but I'm not going to knock it down. I will say this for me, I love my girls. And if it was at all possible, if it was out there in auction, because I don't want to do any of that underhanded stuff on the black market now. I would probably have to say if it were to show up in an auction and I was thinking about buying it for the girls, I would probably say the Black Widow outfit. Because if it wasn't for the Black Widow, they would probably not be Marvel fans today. But they are, and because of it, it's all because of her. And because of that, I think it would do that. Maybe something from maybe Captain America's shield for me, so I could fight off all those people with the vibranium on there as if it were real. But yeah, that's just me talking right there. I'd probably say Cap shield for me, but first I would probably have to say Black Widow's uniform.
You gonna wear it around?
I don't think it would fit me, but so that's probably why I went to Cap shield. But we'll leave it at that. Well, maybe I'd ask my wife to wear it, but that's
Oh, there you go. There you go.
there you go. There you go. All right. On that awkward note, what are your thoughts on Iron Man's suit getting stolen, getting hijacked, getting procured by some dastardly forces? Are you hopeful that it returns to and hopefully gets displayed and prominently viewed out there like it truly deserves? Or are you searching the dark web right now looking for any type of lead on how to get your hands on Iron Man's prize suit from the original 2008 film? Share us your thoughts, Pop Culture Cosmos at yahoo.com. Also, Humanica Media, Pop Culture Cosmos, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. And don't tell us if you actually bought it on the black market. We don't want to know. Josh, any last thoughts for this week on the way out? I know we're going to be talking big time about Deadpool 2 on Friday. I thought we'd save a lot of conversation and a lot of time for that for the PCC Multiverse on Friday because I think there's got to be a lot to talk about exactly what's going to hold up in regards to that film.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to say to close out here, but yeah, we'll talk about Deadpool and people saying it's as good as the first one. That's a pretty high bar to set. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Obviously, the trailers have gone over very well. Is the box office going to follow? We're going to have to wait and see. We're going to check this out, and we're going to talk about more on what's projected on our Friday show, and it has some guesses on where we think it'll end up as well. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the Pop Culture Cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.